What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Time Podcast. We are talking NBA draft. We got through some of our rumors and news and my meltdown about Dallas. So now we are moving on to the next part of our episode 12. And that is Ace Bailey in the NBA draft. And we are going to start with Ace Bailey. I've got an article pulled up by CBS Sports. If it doesn't pull up an ad, there we go. It says Ace Bailey is taking a calculated risk and dangerous risk with his NBA future. Bailey is a top 3 talent who could slide outside of the top 5 for reasons of his own making. Late Wednesday night, Rutgers freshman and potential top 3 pick Ace Bailey canceled a scheduled visit with the Philadelphia 76ers, the team slated to pick 3rd in the NBA draft, prompting questions about the curious handling of his pre-draft process and where his stock sits leading into this Wednesday's draft. Bailey is ranked by 24/7 Sports Director Scouting Adam Finkelstein and myself as the number 3 overall player in the class. That myself was the guy writing the article. Basically, it goes on to say, and for months has been projected as the number 3 pick, but his decision to cancel on the 76ers, it is an unexpected late cycle twist that could change not just the trajectory of the top of the draft, but of Bailey's career arc as well. So he canceled it. And then they just kind of go on to discuss what does this mean for him. Some of the likely spots that Bailey has interested in is Charlotte, Utah, but he also doesn't believe he'll go any lower than 6. These are the people discussing the Ace Bailey situation, but it's just written in the article. When I searched on Google, who does Ace Bailey want to play for, the top candidates are Utah, Brooklyn, Washington, and Charlotte. And Daryl, we've talked about it. This is kind of like Alex Sarr last year, where he kind of wants to go to his own team. I think, and I think I've said it on camera, I think Utah will get the number 1 pick next year because, you know what, I am a believer that they rigged the lottery here and there. There's the best kid in next year's draft. His name's AJ DeBonsa. He plays at BYU. There's rumors that the Jazz have kind of prompted him to come to BYU. So I think they'll land him next year in the draft. So I don't think Ace Bailey will go to Utah. I think Ace Bailey could end up in Washington, or like I said, I think Phoenix should try to move up, or Washington as well, because I think Washington is starting to figure it out. And I think Ace Bailey is making the right move and he's trying to set himself up for the right spot because I think the NBA we've seen every organization. There's so many incompetent organizations. Brooklyn, yeah, it's a big market. Okay, you're going to throw them in that argument. I'm surprised he hasn't mentioned Toronto at 9, but I don't think he'll get to 9. But I wouldn't want to play in San Antonio. Well, actually, I would want to play in San Antonio, but I could see why he doesn't want to play in San Antonio. But I think they don't need Ace Bailey. They need Dylan Harper anyway. So they'll go at Dylan Harper at 2. I think the first 2 picks are decided. Philadelphia, since he doesn't want to go to Philadelphia, they'll take VJ Edgecombe. I think Charlotte's in play here. If he wants to go to Charlotte, I think he'll be a Charlotte Hornet. If he doesn't go to Charlotte, it's literally just a matter of where does he want to go. And I think it's going to come down to Charlotte, Utah, and Washington. He won't go to New Orleans. And then if he really falls, I don't think he falls any lower than 8 to Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's an East Coast kid, right? So you talk about Charlotte, you talk about Brooklyn, you talk about Washington, D.C., right? All those on the Eastern Seaboard all have an opportunity. I tell you this, a lot of people feel like the Washington Wizards are just a flailing, franchise, which they have been for a long time. But they're stockpiling talent. And if you can add Ace Bailey to that talent pool that they've got in Washington, they can start making some noise. I'm not saying they're going to be a top 6 seed in the East, but they'll always start making some noise. And if he can be the player that a lot of people think he is, maybe in 2 years, they have an opportunity because they'll have a lot of cap room as well.
You got Jordan Poole, Koulibaly, Ace Bailey. I don't know who their power forward would be. And then you got Alex Sarr. That's a solid starting five.
Alex Sarr's good, man.
That's a solid young core. I don't know who their power forward would be. Corey Kispert. I think it'd be Kispert, but I don't know for sure.
They've got, man, I don't remember his name, but I remember it being at the game. They've got a long African. He's about 7'1".
Is
I
that
can't
the
remember his
guy?
name.
Is that the guy that?
Man.
Is that the guy that the Pacers took and then they traded him to Washington for Mathurin? Is that the
It,
same dude?
no. Mathurin was a six. He was he. It wasn't in the trade. He was a six pick. They slotted
No,
him
that was
six.
Jarris Walker. They did. The Wizards took Walker and the Pacers took the other guy, and then they swapped.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, man, he is imposing on the court, and he's got. I bet you his wingspan is about 7'11".
Jesus.
Man, he is in person and on the court so much longer, man. So I just think they're stockpiling some talent, and as a team like a franchise like Washington, you just got to stockpile talent first, and then let it sort itself out. And I think
Ramon,
that's what Washington's doing.
Ramon, what's your overall thoughts? And is Ace Bailey making the right decision?
Yeah, I'm just reading more and more of this stuff, man. Like somebody said that he won't even do interviews unless he's getting paid.
Yeah,
I didn't know that actually. So
yeah, he's definitely putting his career in his hands.
Yeah, man. If I'm a GM, if I'm an owner, the answer is no. I'm not drafting you.
could he have a Shadur Sanders type fall?
No,
I don't think nobody in the world can have that type of
because
fall.
he's a legitimate talent without any type of hype.
Okay.
Yeah, he's flat out a baller. I just couldn't do it. That's because I don't know if he's, even if people say he's trying to. I read one article that said that they're trying to position he wants to go play for the Nets. But even if I'm the Nets, I'm still thinking like, unless I'm having side conversations with you that no one knows about, I'm wondering, what's your true motivation? Do you want to ball? Do you love ball? Or do you want to just get paid for every single thing you do? Like, and that's the main factor. Like, look, if you, anything outside of whatever I'm supposed to do, you either gonna pay me or I'm never gonna do it. And I'm kind of like, is this a guy who's gonna go over and beyond for the team to win? Like, I don't know. I got to do like a lot of research, and I don't know if I want to do that much research.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man, because in the NBA, think about this, in the NFL draft, you're talking 7 rounds and all these players coming in. NBA, you get one bite at the apple pretty much for the most part. You're lucky if you get a second bite in that second round. So that's why I say he's gonna go top 8 in my opinion. I don't think he'll drop below 8. He'll have some negative pub, but once he puts the ball in the deck and does what he does, I think a lot of those things will be forgotten.
Yeah,
here's the thing: if they don't take a stand, the owners or whoever, right? If they ride with this, I don't want to do no interviews unless you're paying me. I'm not working out. I'm not doing any of these things. And he gets drafted number 2.
you're setting a precedent.
Everybody about to do it. You can forget the NBA Combine. That's going to be Division III, 2 guys, and the IA guys who trying to get in because all the big guys going to be like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. My film's enough. If you want me to come into your office, you need to write this contract and pay me right now.
And doesn't this tie back in what we've been talking about with NIL and player empowerment? And that's why I still think the topic isn't talked about nearly enough, because it all ties in. Because if that precedent is set by him and he gets picked, like I said, top between no further down than 8, who's up next?
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, Alex Sarr did it, but it wasn't to this magnitude. Alex Sarr just said, I didn't want to go number 1. Like, that's not as bad. But when you're telling multiple teams, I don't want to play for you, I mean, yeah, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for the league. It's a bad look for college. It's a bad look all around. And the worst part about all this is his dad is his agent, right? So you got family politics in here too. You got nepotism, all this type of stuff. It's ridiculous. But I like that I like what he was trying to do. I wouldn't want to play for a bad organization either. I wouldn't want to rot in Charlotte, right? Like, it's crazy to me that when we discuss this, we're saying he has a better chance in Washington than Charlotte, right? I think we all agree on that. Do we all agree?
Possibly. It depends on what the guard does when he comes back next year.
LaMelo?
If Ball decides to play ball, or he decides to, do a highlight reel for himself during the season.
I got a question before we go any further. We talk about playing for bad organizations. How many good organizations are there in the NBA?
Everything's so slotted now.
handful.
It's easy to make a call because everything's so slotted, right? You know,
Like if I'm looking at good organization, I'm looking at the Pacers.
Well, you're looking over. You got to look over the course of the last 2 decades. Let's say last 2 decades or 3 decades.
3 decades would be what, 30 years?
Yeah.
Nah, you can't, because I think the Lakers is a terrible organization right now prior to the sale. And if you look over the last 30 years, they cream of the crop. They made
I would say,
but I don't think it makes them a bad organization. If you're
deals, you make bad moves, you're a bad organization.
Here's what thing is with LA, they could make a bad deal and make up for it in the free agent round, right? So that's why I think Ramon may be saying. Now I don't want to speak for you, but that could be what you're saying. Pacers can't do that. They've got to hit on people. They can't afford to miss.
That's a good organization.
Miami, they can afford to miss on guys. Why? Because of South Beach. And I think that's the difference. And teams like the Pacers, teams like Minnesota, teams, the smaller market teams, even Orlando's of the world, San Antonio's of the world, don't get the credit because they're smaller markets and they're not destinations. But, year after year, these teams, Pacers, San Antonio, playing ball and getting into the playoffs, knowing that they can't miss on people. Cleveland can't miss on people.
Two bad organizations that we won't ever say that they're bad. LA, New York. Bad organization.
Ramon, I think there's more good organizations right now in the league than there is bad. And some of them are even in the lottery as we speak. Dallas is a good organization. San Antonio is a good organization. Philadelphia, as of lately, has been run well. Have they not seen success? Obviously, but I don't think it's on the management. I think it's more on Embiid just not being healthy.
I think it's on the management because they're the one to sign him to that big old deal. They're the one that brought Paul George in with a 4-year max deal, right?
Who let Jimmy Butler go out the door. I don't think they're a good organization.
But
I don't either.
To see where they've come from in the last decade, they've not been managed bad.
They've done it to themselves. They let Jimmy Butler walk out the door.
I'm not. Obviously,
what's his name?
Obviously, they've made bad moves. But when you look back, if you go from 10 years ago, from 2015 to now, they've been a better run organization. I'm not saying they're like great, but they're definitely good in some department. Because
I would lean more towards bad than good.
Charlotte, healthy Embiid made them look decent. But they're a bad organization.
Charlotte's a bad organization. Utah, I think Utah always has a direction, so I wouldn't say they're bad.
They tanked on purpose. Right?
I would say they're good.
But they're also not a hotbed, right? No one's coming to Utah voluntarily.
Washington's a bad organization.
They've been bad for a while.
New Orleans is bad. Brooklyn is bad. Toronto's good. Phoenix,
very good.
Phoenix is in the middle. I mean, as of right now, you can say they're bad, but I think they've always been
Recent history, Phoenix is bad, but over time, over the last few years, over the last 15 years, they're good. I'll give them that.
Portland, I feel like it's like Utah. They usually have a direction on what they want to do, so I wouldn't label that as bad. Sacramento is bad. Atlanta is the worst out of all these teams, I think, over the course of the last couple decades.
Well, I'll say New York Knicks, though. I'll still, because it's the Mecca, it's New York, it's the big city, it's all the glamour and glitz.
So what are the Clippers?
Nothing. Well,
are the Clippers bad?
New York gets more credit than the Clippers do, though. New York, they get it bad for whatever reason.
Are the Clippers bad?
Don't get it. Clippers have been bad for a long time, right? And yes, getting Paul George and Kawhi, they thought there was something there. It didn't translate.
Well, because when I think of being bad or good, I try to look over the course of 10 to 15 years, right? I'm not saying
we'd have to put a window.
I'm not saying winning a championship is bad, but when you make multiple playoff appearances, you're giving your fans something to have hope about. That's what I would say. That's what I would label a good organization as. If you're the 8th seed for 4 years in a row, no, I wouldn't say you're a good organization. But if you're making the playoffs and you're losing in the first round, but then getting to the second round, if you're having these peaks and
making
valleys,
progress, making progress.
if you're having that type of stuff, kind of like Philadelphia, right? That's why I said I wouldn't call Philly bad, because they what they did from a decade ago to now, I can't say they've been bad. Have they made bad decisions? Yes.
Yeah.
Chicago is bad, like outright bad.
That's what gets me. That's what gets me, right? You just talked about these big market teams who haven't gotten out the second round in 10 years. Philadelphia hadn't got the second round in I don't know when. It was against Toronto when Kawhi was there. Was that 2019?
Yeah.
You're talking 6 years ago. Prior to that, not at all, right? Now you're talking Miami, both LA teams, New York and Brooklyn. Miami, they should be great organizations because free agents want to go there.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been getting deep in the playoffs year after year, and in one of those markets, I say you are bad.
If we're saying that, I don't think the Lakers have been bad because they've been to 2 Western Conference Finals. They've made playoff runs these last couple. So I wouldn't say they've been bad. Have they made bad decisions? Yes, like they traded for Russell Westbrook. That was a bad decision. I'm not saying they haven't made bad decisions.
LeBron traded for Russell Westbrook.
Okay, that's fine. LeBron made the trade. Sure, that's fine.
I don't know if he did or not.
I call him the GM. I mean, he's gonna. They're gonna.
GM.
He gives approval, so it's on him. I'm not denying that. But
he didn't have anything to do with the unibrow being traded. What are you talking about?
But New York, I think New York has been bad.
My high school coaches tell me because of, not in spite of. We got some people winning in spite of the self-inflicted wounds. That you're still bad.
New York's bad.
If I cheat on my wife, but never get caught and stay married, I'm still a bad husband.
York.
You just didn't get caught.
Like, if we're talking over the course of a decade, no, New York's been bad. They've only been good for 2 years. I would say
it's bad. From Ben Simmons.
See, I disagree.
To all them guys, they're bad.
No, I'm with you on the Philly. They remember trust the process, right? They've done since they've drafted Embiid. They haven't gotten out the second round, man.
Yeah,
that's a fact. And they've had top pick Markelle Fultz, terrible pick. Don't forget, Markelle Fultz was their first player pick.
Yeah, I think Orlando is interesting because they've been bad, but they're turning a corner. Like I think when we get to a decade from now, we'll label them as good. But right now, they're Orlando. Orlando's turning a corner, right? And if we're talking about a decade, that window's 2015 to now. If this was 2020, you could say, oh, Orlando's been good, right? Because they went to a finals. But if we're talking about in a 10-year span, it changes things. Like we'd
have to give a window. We'd have to give a window because it's so varied, right? You got 5 years, 7 years, 12. We'd have to go a window. And teams like Orlando, yes, they haven't been overwhelmingly great, but man, Orlando's a nice place to be at, man. You can't get free agents come to Orlando, man. That's a nice place to be, man.
I don't think that window can be long. I think when we talk about 15 to 20-year windows, that's too far.
That's too much. You talking about a decade. You talking about maybe
a decade.
Because you can look at a team, you can look at franchise, whatever it is, can go bad quickly. One management move can make you a bad. Like, oh, now you're terrible now.
So here's my thing. What's Minnesota? What would you label Minnesota?
Small market, overachieving team. They swung for the fences for Rudy Gobert. They said we're trying to win. So I think Minnesota's a good organization.
What would you rate? So I think it's really interesting, right? Because it's like, let's talk about San Antonio, 2014, or if we're talking about a decade, that 2014 ring we don't look at. So we go from 2015 to now. You can't say they're bad, right? Because
they were taking two though, man. They've been taking two.
There's just different. It's different,
right? And those are things that come into play, right? But from my perspective, from Philly hasn't been taken in the last 10 years.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So you're right. It's all about perspective, right? Yeah. We'd have to go. How many years were they tanking? Were they not? Are they in a hot market? Are they in a destination market? Are they in a market where they've got to hit on everything for everything to be right?
I want to hit two things before this segment ends.
Okay.
ESPN has made some draft day trades that I want to get your opinions on, but I want to go through the lottery picks and show you what CBS Sports has labeled. and I want you guys to give it a grade, A through F, right? That's what I want you guys to do. So we're gonna start with Cooper Flag to Dallas. I want you to say if this would be the right pick as well, and then what's the grade? I'm gonna give it an A, obviously. It would be the right pick. If Nico Harrison pulled a Luka and picks Ace Bailey, it's a bad pick because you don't take Ace Bailey in this situation, even though I like Ace Bailey and I like Dylan Harper.
I like who fits your team best. I mean, everybody says Cooper Flag is the guy, but maybe they think there's another guy out there that will fit that team better. And so you pick the guy you want.
What's your grade?
If they pick Cooper Flag,
yeah,
off the top I'd give it an A. But this is
that's fine.
Way too premature, right?
Ramon, what are you giving it?
I give him an A.
Okay.
I think Cooper Flag is the great piece that fits a little bit of everything. I think he can go into Dallas.
Swiss Army knife.
Yep, he going to Dallas. He ain't got to be that dude.
The son of Ron.
Cool
go ahead.
He's cool. He's not that dude.
The son of Ron Harper, Dylan Harper goes second overall to San Antonio. I'll give it an A because they should have kept Dillingham in my opinion. But hey, hindsight's 2020. It pays off. They're going to get their point guard in Dylan Harper. I'm going to give it an A, and I think this could work out better than Flag in Dallas in the long term.
I say C. I would like Ace Bailey to go to San Antonio and for them to trade and get their point guard because they'll have the assets to be able to make it happen.
Okay. Ramon? He's thinking.
I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Okay. All right. At number 3, VJ Edgecombe to Philadelphia. I think this is the right pick for them if they can't take Ace Bailey. I'm not going to give it an A because of Edgecombe's offensive abilities. I'm going to give it a B.
I'd give it an A. I think he'll be a great fit there in Philly. Because I don't think Paul George is long for Philadelphia.
He's getting traded. There's actually a rumor he may get moved to Utah.
I would love that. I would love to see him go to Utah.
Ramon, what's your grade on that?
I think.
Oh, did he freeze? I think he froze.
Yeah.
Yeah, he froze. Ramon, rejoin the link. You froze.
I'm gonna tell him this stuff.
He's doing the John Cena. You see that?
Yeah, he's doing it. You can't see me.
You can't see me.
I'm gonna message him up. Tell him.
He just rejoined. All right, cool.
I was just saying you froze. You were like this.
You were doing John Cena. What was your grade? I'm sorry, I didn't get the.
I think if what's his name? That's there now from the Pacers.
Who?
Who's there now with the Sixers? Paul George, right?
Paul George.
I think if Paul George stays and VJ comes, I think that's a great move.
Yeah. No, I like it too.
Gives him a chance to mature a little bit, feel good about himself, get those minutes, and then when Paul George does a Paul George, boom, I slide in, I make him. You can go get rid of that dude now.
At pick 4, Trey Johnson to Charlotte. I'm gonna give it a B.
I like it. I think he'd fit, but again, it depends on the point. So much depends on that point guard of theirs.
Yeah, Ramon.
I don't know if I have a belief. I didn't see enough of him at Texas, right?
Yeah,
I didn't see enough of him to say yes or no.
Con Knuppel at to Utah at pick 5. If they get AJ DeBonsa yet next year, this is an A. But right now I'm going to give it a B plus because they don't have a star player to put around him yet. But he's a really good catch and shoot. I think his ceiling could be maybe like an all-star one time in his career, but he's going to be a really good catch and shoot guy. If he can do better with his on the ball playmaking, I think this could be a slam run pick. But I'm going to give it a B for now, or B plus for now, because I think they will land AJ DeBonsa next year from BYU.
Here's my problem with this. With the college game being so much different than the NBA, it's hard to translate over, right? You see a guy like Edgecombe. I think Edgecombe just says star written all over. Man, he may go somewhere, if it's New Orleans or if it's Philly, and wet the bed, man. That's the tough part with NBA versus some of the other leagues. You think this guy's man, he's got it all, and all of a sudden he's in the G League in 3 years.
Ramon?
Talking about the fourth pick, right?
The fifth pick.
Right.
Utah
Fifth pick.
Con Knuckle.
I think the Utah.
Out of Duke.
I think it'll be a good pick. I'm gonna say B.
Okay.
I think that's a good fit for him. I think it's a good organization for him. So I think that's gonna be a good slot.
Pick 6. This mock draft is by CBS Sports, by the way. Pick 6 is Ace Bailey to Washington. I think this is an A. Bailey, Harper, and Flagg all have the potential to be the best player out of this draft or equally as good as each other. This would be a slam run for Washington. Home run for Washington if they get Ace Bailey to pick next to Alex Sarr and Jordan Poole. Because I still like Jordan Poole. And I like Alex Sarr a lot too. And I also really like Bilal Coulibaly. I really like Coulibaly as well. This would be a really, really good get for Washington if he falls all the way to 6. So I'm gonna go with Ace Bailey, or I'm gonna give it an A for sure.
A+ for me. I think Ace Bailey's the second best player in the draft.
All right, Ramon.
Shoot, I'm sorry. I don't know. I think that he's the second best player in the draft for sure. But I don't like how he's acting right now. And I don't like Jordan Poole, how he acts at any time. So they scare me together. It could be like, what the kids say, crash out time. It could be two big crashes.
So what are you giving it?
I'm going to give it a C+.
All right. I like it. Pick 7, Jeremiah Fears to New Orleans. I think Fears is probably one of the most underrated guys in this draft. I think he could go higher than this, honestly. I could see Charlotte taking him actually at pick 7. I really like Jeremiah Fears. I think he's a really good player. This would be a good pick for New Orleans if they start to move Zion and these other assets. He's a really good point guard. This would be a great reset for New Orleans. I'm going to give it a B+.
I like him as a B. The thing I'm just looking at his update, he doesn't turn 19 till October. He's a baby, and he's got legitimate size. He's a legit 6'4". So, man, I think he has an opportunity to be really, really good. But he's got to the right program, right? I don't think going to Charlotte would be the right program. And I don't think New Orleans would be the right program either as well. Especially with all the turmoil going on right now.
Ramon?
I think as a pick player, I give it an A-.
Okay.
As a fit organization, I give it a B-.
Interesting. Okay.
He's going to Toronto. I think he's going to go to Toronto.
We're going to stop at pick 9 because the 10th pick is Houston, which is now Phoenix. I just wanted to get through some of the top picks just to see what you guys are thinking. At pick 8, Brooklyn, Daryl, I think it's the guy that you would that people had Houston taking
Caspers, yeah, from Illinois, yeah.
CBS has Brooklyn taking him at pick 8. Your thoughts or your grade? I'm going to give it a B because I don't really know him too well. I'll give it a B.
Well, playing in the Big Ten, he scored 15 points a game in the Big Ten. Big Ten, from a talent perspective, was a little bit down last year. Were you talking about overall how they've been of recent years? I don't know a whole lot about him as well myself. But just looking at his numbers and seeing where he played and the big games he played in, decent. I'd say at this point I'm looking at a C.
Okay.
At a C. I think he's a C player. I think that's too high for him.
Ramon, what's your grade?
I like him, man. He seems to be a big kid. They say he's about 6'4" and 3/4 without shoes on. And he looks big when I watch him. He's unselfish. Moves the ball well. So I think it's a good pick. So I'm gonna give it like a B.
Fair enough. All right. And then last but not least, Toronto at 9, they take the center out of Duke. Kaman, I can't say his last name, but I think you guys know who I'm referring to. I think he's explosive, man. I don't think we saw enough of him at Duke in that offense. I think in an NBA offense on a pick and roll or just keeping him sitting in that dunker spot, freeing him up on an off ball, I think he could be really good for Toronto. And if Toronto gets him, because I think this is another guy where he could go up higher in draft boards because people may take what they just want and not based off need, right? And I think this is a guy that could go really high up, depending on what people want. And the NBA, I think, is more prone to do that than the NFL, where they'll take their guy over the thing they need. So I could see him going higher, but if he goes to Toronto, I give it an A. I think this would be a great piece next to what they're building in Toronto right now.
I think that's too high for him. I keep seeing Purvis Ellison when I see this guy. He played his ass off in the tournament this past year, especially against Florida, those bigs that they had. But it just screams Purvis Ellison to me. High stage, big time player for a big time program. I just don't think it's going to translate to the NBA.
What's the grade?
I say he should be a late round pick, a late first round pick. That'd be way too high, so I'd give it a C minus.
Well, if he falls to the Lakers, that's great too. Ramon, what do you think?
We'll give him a B, maybe a B minus with a bullet.
Okay.
I don't think we saw the best of him.
I agree.
I think there's a lot ceiling, but at the same time, I don't know how he's going to translate to that next level. So it's kind of like with him, that ceiling's high and that floor could be a little bit lower than we know.
Yeah.
Think.
I think he has a lot. I think he has a lot of potential.
Hey, man,
I agree.
I'm talking about never nervous Purvis.
Right. Because, and the reason I said because we look at this guy, I said, man, there are no real weaknesses in him. And that's exactly what people said about Purvis Ellison as well, coming out of Louisville after his sophomore year, excuse me. And it just seems as though maybe I'm being nitpicky, but man, he was really good in the tournament last year, and that scares me for some reason. I don't know why. It just scares me.
Well, actually, we're talking about this center. I had ESPN pulled up because they had 5 trades on draft day, and one of them involves the Lakers getting this center. I'm going to read you the trade. So Lakers trade connect again, but they get their starting center. The Nets would get the number 11th pick via Portland and the Lakers 2031 unprotected first. The Lakers get the number 8 pick via Brooklyn and the number 36 pick via Brooklyn, and they would come on with that 8th pick. Portland would get Dalton Connect and a 2027 top 4 protected via New York. Your guys' thoughts on that trade?
Man.
I don't like the trade. I want Claxton or Ayton, and we've got both of those teams in the deal, and we don't get Claxton or Ayton. No, I want Claxton or Ayton.
I think that there's a lot of hope in the media for the Lakers that they're going to get a center that they want and a lot of things like that. I think that drives a lot of these stories. So I don't buy that story at all. It doesn't sound believable to me.
It doesn't.
I think the Lakers are stuck with AR. That's their only real live moving piece, and they got to do something with it.
Ramon, I'm assuming you feel the same way.
Done talking about the Lakers.
That's
what
I said that when I was in Orlando, and I came back with another segment. So you remember that? I'm done with the Lakers. Yeah, I think that's a wish. That's a wish.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Unless y'all want to talk about Showtime with Kareem and Magic, Big Game James, I'm tired of talking about the Lakers.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Until they do something, right? Until they do something.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We got about. Let me check. We got about 4 minutes left in the segment. Anything trade wise you want to see happen on draft day? I want to see Ja get moved or Zion.
I want to see hair on fire. I want to see 8 trades on draft day. I want to see stars moving. I want to see disgruntled players being swapped out.
I want to see Kuminga gone. Kuminga should be gone on draft night.
You talked about freeing a guy from a bad situation. You talked about the kid in Phoenix. Talking about freeing somebody. Kuminga needs to be freed. He wasn't going to be in the rotation if Steph wouldn't have got hurt in the playoffs. That tells you his situation is much, much worse than the kid in Phoenix. Much worse. He wasn't going to be in. And you saw him play? Man, he balled out. He balled out. So, yeah, I would love to see Kuminga leave.
Ramon,
Come to the East. Come to the East, Kuminga.
Ramon, other than Bronny James being traded, what do you want to see happen on draft night? So before you can get that out of your mouth.
Hey man, I'm not talking about the Lakers.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to contradict himself and say something about Bronny. So I had to.
I want to see Giannis get traded.
Oh, I don't think
I
it'll
want to see
happen.
Giannis.
I
It
think
won't happen. I want to see Giannis somewhere else. I want to see Trae Young get traded.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see
Movement.
Milwaukee
Movement.
blow up. I want to see Dame Time go somewhere else.
Chaos. Yep.
I want to see
Chaos.
Donovan Mitchell go somewhere else.
Oh,
It'll
Donovan got paid.
It'll probably be a sidekick. It probably wouldn't be Donovan. Probably be a sidekick.
It'd probably be Garland.
Y'all just asked me what I wanted to see.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay.
He wants to see chaos. This is the time. This is chaos.
I want to see Kawhi Leonard talk. I want to see him say more than 15 words.
Paul George may get traded to Utah. We didn't even talk about that. There is a rumor that they've been in negotiation.
Oh, okay. I know we won't do another session.
We got about 2 minutes.
But I really want to hit on the KD versus Paul George comparison, what they did to their teams, meaning wanting to lead. Talking about KD with OKC and Paul George with the Pacers. I did some work on it. I don't want to spoil it, but maybe I'll save it for next week or something like that.
You can do it for the wraparound.
Yeah. Okay. We can do it. Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. I'll do that.
All right. Ramon, did you have anything else? I heard you talk and then.
Yeah. I want to see Paul George get traded in the middle of his podcast.
Okay. Wishful thinking, of course.
I would love that.
I think my big thing is I want to see Ja get traded. And then Zion's not getting traded. He may get cut at this point. So
trade Trae for Ja. Head up.
No, Jesus, no. There's not even no point.
Yeah, there you go.
Ja
you take my bad, I take your bad.
Ja will be the first person to start BMF up.
I want to see the. Oh, here's a really. To be honest, I want to see the Bulls make some type of big move to find a direction here. I like Matas Buzelis and I like Kobe White. I want to see them actually do something to put some direction in this organization because they haven't done it since the Clinton administration or since Derrick Rose tore his ACL. They got to get something done over there. We've got under a minute. I want to get the intro done before it cuts out on us. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to have our wraparound segment, and that's going to do it for episode 12 on the Game Time Podcast. So we'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Game Time Podcast.